Legend of the Candy Cane provides an interesting theory about the candy cane, but as a film, I didn't really care for it. This was released in 2001. It's an animated film directed by Schmidt. The animation quality is okay. Visually, it's quite nice. The voice acting across the board is very good. The pacing, well, I don't know how to describe the pacing because, on the one hand, it felt kind of slow and not a lot happened, but at the same time, a lot seemed to happen. And by that I mean there's too much going on that none of the stories or the individual characters' little journeys ever felt like it was possible to connect with them, and their individual stories felt really slow and didn't really go anywhere. And then something else would happen that felt unnecessary, and there was just too much going on. I don't want to go into too much detail about everything, but there's a boy who's lost his parents. There's a girl whose father is going to get married so that she can have a mother. There's a goat, a talking goat, who is pulling this giant sled. The talking animals I thought was an interesting enough touch. When I was watching this, I was thinking, would I have liked this if I was a child, if I was younger? And I feel like the talking animals aspect would have completely appealed to me as a child. Most of the animations I watched growing up, most of the films I watched growing up were about talking animals. So for me as a child, I think this would have really appealed. But at the same time, there's a lot of mess. There's a lot of chaos that doesn't need to be in this. Maybe if it was structured slightly differently, it could have worked, but in general, I didn't care for it. The candy cane aspect, it's in it enough, but I feel like it was introduced at really bizarre times, and it didn't really seem to be going in the right direction. When you have something called the legend of the candy cane, it would make sense that the candy cane's involvement would increase as the film went on, and we'd learn more about it as the film went on. But that's not what happened. It was just kind of deposited somewhere in the middle, maybe towards the final third, and then a bit somewhere else, and then it popped up here, and it felt really poorly structured. And that meant it was really not enjoyable. As I said, though, it did provide some interesting thoughts about what the candy cane stands for, religiously speaking, and also about how the red stripes. I guess this is a spoiler as I discuss what they say the candy cane means, but it's the one bit of the film that I liked, so I'd like to share it. But spoilers, just in case you want to watch it. But the candy cane, and I don't know if anywhere else has this theory. This is the first time I've heard of it, but it could be a popular theory I'm not aware of. But the red stripes represent sadness and the difficult times, and the white stripes are next to them, and it's to show that the good times and the bad times are close together. Meaning, if you're going through a bad patch, there'll be a good time just around the corner. And as you lick away the redness, you're licking away the sadness and you're left with just the white, which represents the happy times, the positive times. And I'd never ever thought of it like that. And it's not my favourite theory insofar as I don't believe that that's actually what candy canes represent, but I liked it as a way of teaching, particularly children and young viewers, about how to cope through the difficult times, and that good times, happy times, positive changes are just a few licks of a candy cane away. And I think that it's a really nice message. Even if the film fell flat, even if the film was terribly structured, the message that holding on and just keeping going because there could be good times right around the corner, I think is a really beautiful message. And I really enjoyed that part of it. And they did deliver that part of the message very well. It was very well written. And I have to say, some of the dialogue's pretty good, particularly between the animals. I thought they were rather fun, with a tiny bit of humour in there as well, especially from the goat. But as a story, it's not very good. It kind of feels like somebody dropped the screenplay and then just shuffled the pages together and picked it up and hoped for the best. So there are some good individual moments, but as a full film, it's not great. Would I recommend it? I mean, I wouldn't say rush to see it, but if you're into Christmas animations like I am and you have 40 something minutes to spare, it's just feature length. I'd say give it a go. There might be bits in it that appeal to you. I don't think you'll love the whole film, but there are some sweet moments, so maybe it's worth checking out once, if only once.